In this success story, we are going to share Mark Zuckerberg biography, the youngest billionaire on the planet who created the Facebook social network that now has 1 billion monthly active users. Thanks to Facebook, people around the world can easily keep in touch with all their friends. Not long ago, society just did not have such opportunity, but now everything has changed. However, Facebook is not limited only to communication and acquaintances. There are numerous interest groups and fan pages that help to rally the people together. This is not counting the fact Facebook is also a huge database of profiles, exceeding the most popular dating sites, and chances to find your second half are impressive. Mark Zuckerberg childhood biography. Mark Elliott Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, and grew up in the suburbs of New York, Dobbs Ferry. He was the second of 4 children and the only son in the educated family. Mark's father, Edward Zuckerberg, is a dentist, and mother, Karen Zuckerberg, is a psychiatrist. His father owned a dental practice next to the family house. Mark and his 3 sisters, Ariel, Randy, and Donna, were raised in Dobbs Ferry, New York. Mark got interested in programming yet in elementary school. The fact that the world is divided between programmers and users, Mark found out when he was 10 years old and got his first PC Quantex 486DX on the Intel 486. From Mark Zuckerberg biography we found out he was taught Atari Basic programming by his father, and when Mark was about 12, he used Atari Basic to create a messenger, which he called ZuckNet. It made all the computers connected to each other and allowed to transfer messages between the house and dental office. His father installed the messenger on his computer in his dentist office, and the receptionist could inform him when a new patient arrived. Mark also enjoyed developing games and communication tools, and as he said, he was doing it just for fun. His father, Edward Zuckerberg, even hired a computer tutor, David Newman, who gave his son some private lessons. Also being at high school, Mark wrote an artificially intelligent media player Synapse for MP3 playlists that carefully studied the preferences of a user and was able to generate playlists guessing which tracks a user wanted to listen to. Microsoft and AOL got an unusual interest in Synapse Media Player and wanted to acquire it. However, the young talent rejected the offer of the IT giants and then politely rejected their invitation to cooperate. Just like that, Mark Zuckerberg refused from dozens, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars, and work at one of the top IT corporations. Soon Mark Zuckerberg studied at the Academy of Phillips Exeter, an exclusive preparatory school in New Hampshire. He showed good results there in science and literature, receiving a degree in classics. He also showed a great talent in fencing and even became the school captain of the fencing team. Yet Mark Zuckerberg stayed fascinated by coding and wanted to work on the development of new software. In 2002, after graduating Phillips Exeter, Zuckerberg entered Harvard University. By his second year in the Ivy League, he had gained a reputation as a software developer on campus. It was then when he wrote a program, Course Match, which helped students choose their subjects on the basis of lists of courses from other users. In 2003, one summer evening when Mark Zuckerberg suffered from insomnia in the Harvard dormitory room, he got an idea to create a site called FaceMash. Mark decided to hack the database of Harvard, where the students uploaded their profile pictures. He quickly wrote a program that randomly selected 2 pictures of 2 random female students and put them next to each other, asking who is hotter, giving the option for voting. The process was in full swing and site was visited by most of the students at Harvard. When the number of visitors exceeded the limit, the server crashed due to overload. Mark appeared before the Committee on Computer Hacking. Of course, nobody told Mark Zuckerberg well done. And he received a disciplinary action, and had noticed that such kind of things cause stormy interest in society. By the way, Harvard has refused to comment on the incident up till now. About 10 months before the Zuckerberg's FaceMash epic, one of the students of Harvard, Divya Narendra, had already spoken with the idea of creating a social network exclusively for Harvard students, many of whom were suffering from emotional stiffness, and not have aliens engaged into the network. Narendra suggested using Harvard email address as the main username. Divya Narendra's partners were twins Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. The father of the Winklevoss twins, Howard Winklevoss, is a successful financial consultant and put in his sons a lot of efforts and money, so the problem with the initial capital for the future network could be solved easily. In conversation with Mark, Narendra said that the project would be called Harvard Connection, later renamed to Connect2, and its members would post on the internet their photos, personal information, and useful links. The tasks of Mark Zuckerberg included programming of the site and creating a special source code, which would allow the system to work as quickly as possible. After a private meeting with Narendra and the Winklevoss twins, Zuckerberg agreed to join in the work, but the potential of his new partners he estimated skeptically. While working on Harvard Connection, he got a fantastic idea for his own social network. On February 4, 2004, Mark Zuckerberg registered the domain name thefacebook.com, now known throughout the world as facebook.com. However, it functioned only within Harvard. After Zuckerberg and his partner Eduardo Saverin realized that there were already 4,000 users registered on Facebook, they came to the conclusion that they needed services of new programmers. One of them was Mark's neighbor, Darren Moskowitz, who further opened the Facebook service to students at Columbia University, Stanford, and Yale. Around the same time after the IPO, Zuckerberg owned 503.6 million shares. And now Zuckerberg controls nearly 60% of the company's votes, 35%, Eduardo Saverin, and 5% went to the newcomer Moskowitz. Another friend of Mark, Chris Hughes, was assigned as the press attaché of Facebook. Sometime later, the registration was open to all students. The main condition was the availability of an email address in the Edu zone, which also indicated a person's belonging to the education sector. It must be said that at first this tactic worked out nicely. The project attracted audience attention of sufficient quality. When a user was trying to sign up, he had to fill out a detailed profile, and in addition to the email address in the Edu zone, it was requested to add a real profile picture. If people used avatars instead of real pictures, their profiles were deleted. Soon, Facebook went beyond the education sector, becoming more and more popular. Mark Zuckerberg started looking for investors. The first investments Mark received from one of the founders of PayPal, Peter Thiel, who is well known throughout Silicon Valley. Peter Thiel allocated $500,000, and that amount was sufficient for immediate Facebook purposes. The project began to evolve rapidly. In less than a year after it was founded, more than 1 million people joined the social network. For further development of Facebook, they needed more investments. XL Partners invested in Facebook $12.7 million, and then Greylock Partners added to this amount $27.5 million. By 2005, Facebook became accessible for all educational institutions and universities in the USA. Zuckerberg still believed that his project is a social network for students, but the interest of users to Facebook grew exponentially. Then it was decided to make a registration accessible to the public. And after this, a Facebook epidemic started. The main thing that immediately attracted users in Facebook is that friends who meet in real life now could communicate with each other online. It was something new. The Facebook audience grew rapidly, but the monetization of the project still remained unclear. Everyone expected that the main instrument should be context advertising. The fact is that every Facebook user fills sufficiently detailed profile, which can be used to show relevant advertisements. Obviously, that would open up enough options to advertisers, who may be of interest to their audience. But Facebook continued to grow its audience. When they got over 50 million users, large companies began to offer Zuckerberg to sell them the project. So, one time even Yahoo offered $900 million for Facebook. Impressive sum, but it absolutely did not satisfy Mark. Facebook biography and Mark Zuckerberg's success story is quite intriguing, isn't it? The Facebook project launch was accompanied by a series of scandals. 6 days later after launching the site, senior students brothers Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss and Divya Narendra accused Mark Zuckerberg of stealing their idea. They claimed that in 2003 hired Zuckerberg to make him complete the establishment of the social network HarvardConnection.com. According to their testimonies, Zuckerberg did not provide them the results of his work but used the original source code to create Facebook. In the same year, Narendra and the Winklevoss twins launched their own network renamed to Connect2. And they continued to attack on Mark Zuckerberg, complaining Harvard administration and the Harvard Crimson newspaper. Initially, Zuckerberg urged journalists not to publish the investigation. He showed them what supposedly he did for Harvard Connection, and explained that those developments did not have any relation to Facebook. But very inappropriately, another Harvard student, John Thompson, in personal conversations started saying that Zuckerberg stole one of his ideas for Facebook. The newspaper decided to publish the article, and it offended Mark Zuckerberg very much. Zuckerberg took revenge on the Harvard Crimson. According to Silicon Alley Insider, in 2004, he breaks the mailboxes of 2 journalists from the Harvard Crimson, using the newly launched Facebook. He found users who were involved in the newspaper and browsed their logs, i.e. history, of incorrectly entered passwords in Facebook. Zuckerberg's expectations were met. Two employees of the newspaper absent-mindedly tried to log in Facebook with passwords from their mailboxes. Silicon Alley Insider wrote that Zuckerberg got lucky. He had a chance to read the correspondence about him between the editorial office and Harvard connection. The Winklevoss twins and Narendra filed a lawsuit against Mark Zuckerberg, but the court rejected their claim. They were persistent and filed another lawsuit. This time, the court examined the code sources to understand whether they were actually stolen. But the truth was still not clear. The examination results were not announced. In 2009, Zuckerberg agreed to pay $45 million, $20 million in cash, and the remaining amount in Facebook shares, Connect2 as part of the court settlement. The case was closed. By that time Connect2 had less than 100,000 users, Facebook boasted about 150 million users. The Winklevoss twins yet did not calm down and filed a petition in the U.S. Court of Appeals, but they were denied a retrial. According to their lawyer Jerome Falk, the appellate court refused to take a review of the case based only on the party settlement agreement, which states that members of the trial after the signing of the document does not have the right to resume the trial. In counsel's view, the decision was illegal, as Mark Zuckerberg in a proceeding in 2008 provided false information about the company's value. Bill Gates and Facebook. In 2007, a significant event happened to Facebook. Microsoft acquired 1.6% equity stake in Facebook for an impressive amount of $240 million. On this basis, a number of analysts suggested that the total value of Facebook reached $15 billion. Quite good results for the company, whose income did not exceed $200 million a year. After the deal, Bill Gates created an account on Facebook. He used to spend several hours a day to communicate through Facebook with everyone, but after a time decided to close his account for some time, because there were too many people willing to chat with him. Physically, he was not able to chat with all of them. However, Gates provided a major PR campaign for Facebook worldwide. This is of particular importance for Microsoft, given that it had an exclusive advertising agreement with the social network until 2011. How Facebook makes money. In 2013, the turnover of Facebook Incorporated reached $7.87 billion and net income $1.5 billion. The growth rates are also impressive. 3 years turnover has increased six-fold. The basic earnings of Facebook come from contextual ads on the pages of the social network. Growing number of users and the time they spend on the site is converted into advertising revenues. 85% of cash flow that went through the company last year was earned through contextual advertising. The most of the rest 15% are deductions from purchases made through the Facebook payment system. These are mostly not real, but virtual goods. For example, seeds, fruits and vegetables, purchased by fans of the popular game Farmville developed by Zynga. Despite the apparent frivolity, virtual goods is a serious business, and the Facebook report confirms that. The company estimated that in 2010 the global market turnover for virtual goods reached $7 billion, and by 2014, it rose to $15 billion. At the beginning of January 2013, Facebook Incorporated started testing the service of paid private messaging. Facebook charges $1 for a private message that you can send to the users who are not in your friend list. And the message goes directly to their inbox folder, instead of other one. But Facebook went further and realized that some users are worth more than a $1. If you want to send a message to Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg and get into his inbox, you might have to pay $100 for this exclusive option. This is another very simple way to generate additional revenue. Acquisition of Instagram, Oculus Rift, and WhatsApp. Mark Zuckerberg is a great strategist, and he keeps acquiring companies that continue their operation as independent entities under Facebook's umbrella. In April 2012, acquired mobile photo sharing app Instagram for $1 billion in cash and stock. Initially, it was an iOS application developed by Mike Krieger and Kevin Systrom. Now the Instagram application is available on Android OS as well. In March 2014, Facebook closed the acquisition of Oculus Rift for $2 billion. Oculus Rift is a virtual reality hardware engineered by Oculus VR company headed by Palmer Freeman Luckey. Facebook paid $400 million in cash plus 23.1 meters Facebook shares, with a further $300 million in incentives if it hits certain milestones in the future. In October 2014, Mark Zuckerberg completed the purchase of WhatsApp for $22 billion. Facebook paid $4.59 billion in cash and 177,760,669 shares in the company. WhatsApp is an instant messaging application founded by Jan Koum and Brian Acton in 2009. Mark Zuckerberg, Time's 2010 Person of the Year. In January 2010, Time magazine named Facebook founder, CEO and 26-year-old billionaire Mark Zuckerberg the Person of the Year 2010. Lady Gaga, James Cameron and founder of WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, were struggling for this title that year. However, Time magazine chose his hero. The social network created by Mark connected almost every 10th person on the planet. Richard Stengel, Time editor-in-chief, explained their choice. According to him, today, Facebook is the third largest country in the world that knows about its citizens as much as no government on planet does. According to Time, in the past year, no one else had such great impact on the world than the current winner. Mark's popularity is so high that in 2010 David Fincher shot a movie The Social Network in which the main role of the Facebook founder was brilliantly played by Jesse Eisenberg. Previously, Time's Persons of the Year became the United States Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. In 2010, Forbes magazine admitted Mark Zuckerberg as the youngest billionaire in its list to the state of $4 billion. In the rating of the 400 richest people in the United States, published by Forbes magazine in 2015, Zuckerberg took 7th place with a net worth of $40.3 billion. Mark Zuckerberg's lifestyle. Currently, Zuckerberg lives in the Palo Alto in a $7 million estate that features 5 bedrooms, a saltwater pool, and over 5,000 square feet of property. On May 19, 2012, Mark Zuckerberg married his longtime girlfriend Priscilla Chan in Palo Alto, California, and finally they happily lived together. On December 1, 2015, Mark Zuckerberg and Dr. Priscilla Chan announced the birth of their daughter, Maxima Chan Zuckerberg, and wrote a letter to her with the supportive words and mentoring notes. Max, we love you and feel a great responsibility to leave the world a better place for you and all children, Zuckerberg and Chan wrote in the letter to their daughter. On August 28, 2017, Mark Zuckerberg and Dr. Priscilla Chan announced the birth of their second daughter, August Chan Zuckerberg. The young couple also pledged to donate 99% of their Facebook shares, worth about $45 billion, through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative within their lifetime to promote human potential, equality, and the world development. We hope you have enjoyed reading Mark Zuckerberg biography and breathtaking success story of Facebook, and it has inspired you to new discoveries.
Thanks for watching my channel. Subscribe for more updates.